Hey everyone, welcome back to the IWP Network, or if it's your first time, welcome hanging out with us. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast, and feedback is always welcome. So make sure to check the links below for all social media links, audio and video versions of this show, and merch. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing that feedback, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Tornado Attack Podcast, episode 96. We looked it up this time. He reminded me. Hey,
1996. That was a good year for professional wrestling. It's just about to get real hot.
Yeah. We want to thank our sponsors real quick. Abaddon Tattoo Studio, unique professional experience. That's in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They provide high quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. You can check the links below to go follow them. We do have our link tree up as well, which has all of our links to our merch, our Patreon, our brand new Discord page. So this is a cool thing.
I don't understand what Discord is.
Discord's kind of like a chat room that you can go in there and have conversations.
Okay. Can you watch videos?
I think there's a way you can do videos and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm still learning things.
Yeah,
I do know there is a chat that you can go in and chat, and it has like sub chats that you can create.
Yeah. I know it's very big with game streamers. Like a lot of times when people stream games on Twitch, that's how they do the audio.
I will say this: I'm not completely burning, but I'm very inspired by the Kryptonaut podcast, and they have a Discord and stuff like that. And I was looking, I was like, this is pretty cool. I was like, we should try it. And not only that, you can have like voice chats in there, so you can have once people go in, and it's like a voice chat room where you can go in and have interactions.
Okay.
So I think it'd be a cool way for people to interact with us on the podcast and leave some messages and then build a little community. So that's the whole overall goal, is have that community fun. We do have our group pages that are and our community pages that you can use as well. This is going to be the first time that you're going to see. I think this is going to be the last time we're going to do this. I'm going to upload this to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be on Twitch anymore. So we're not going to be live on Facebook and Twitch. We will do live events, but it's going to be very limited to what we do. So like maybe we'll do a live thing here and there as a special one-off. I'm being completely upfront and honest. It is tough to play host, watch chat, make sure the quality is good, make sure this is good.
Most podcasts aren't live anymore.
Yeah, we've had some issues in the past where the audio that was coming from our board wasn't sounding good when it then came to the stream. So I want to eliminate that. I want to put the best product out there that we can put out there. So we are going to eliminate the live aspect. I know it's a bummer, but when you're watching this back, you can always comment below and talk. But this will be the last one we're going to upload. We're going to do one more time for each show, upload it just to kind of give the audience on Facebook a, hey, this is the last time.
Nice.
What I would like you to do is the links below, head over to YouTube, because that's where all of our video versions of our show is going to be. We're going to be on YouTube only.
Just like every major podcast, just like any Conrad podcast or Jim Cornette, you go on there and watch the video.
We will try to do clips of the show, and we'll put the clips on Facebook as like promotional stuff.
Yeah.
But the main show, we're trying to get that subscriber number up and get monetized on YouTube and possibly make a couple bucks. You can get monetized and stuff on Facebook. I just know how to do it yet, but we want to push our like listen to the audio only. So download us on your favorite audio stream, and then if you want to watch the video, head over to the YouTube.
A lot of people do that when they're driving. They put up YouTube on their phone with the podcast. They don't necessarily watch it; just listen.
It's a lot of data, though.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of data, but you can do that.
But some people do, you know.
And if you listen to the quality of the audio only and listen to the quality of sometimes a stream, the audio only sounds a lot better.
Yeah, I always, for myself, will download the podcast with iTunes.
So
iTunes, but the Apple.
Yeah,
whatever.
I want to match the quality of the audio as the quality of the YouTube if you're watching it. So when we do this, I'm going to take the audio that we get from our board and upload that to the video and make it seamless. So the quality translates. Like we didn't put all this money into these equipment just for it to sound like dog shit when we're streaming. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a big thing. So we understand that a lot of you really enjoy the live aspect, but it's a lot. And I think we can focus on a little bit more of the quality this way and have a little bit of fun. But I do have a quick read off I want to do. I'm going to read it off as they want me to read it off, but a full disclaimer, I don't drink coffee. So I'm going to sound like a fraud a little bit here.
Well, then I'll read it.
There you go.
Okay, so where am I starting? At the top?
No.
If you were like me in the morning, you're probably a zombie until that 4th or 5th cup of coffee. Good God. Not anymore, fellow podcaster. Shark Bite Biz has launched their own coffee line, Dead House Coffee, that has the freshest coffee around. Store-bought coffee has been sitting on the shelves for months sometimes, and that's true. Not this brew. It is shipped within 24 hours of being roasted, ensuring you get the freshest coffee experience around. Go to deadhousecoffee.com and use your Tornado just Tornado as your code to get 10% off your purchase and help out this show and the coffee people here. So don't be a zombie. Dead House Coffee, get back to life. I don't know. I like their name. And if they do actually like roast it and then grind it up or send you to full beans in 24 hours, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know they existed. Now check it out.
This is a podcast called Shark Bite Biz. It's a guy, David, who's from the area. He started his own podcast. Now he's starting to branch off doing his own coffee business. And he said if you guys buy it and use our code Tornado, we get a little bit of commission.
So can we get a little bit of coffee too?
We can try it out. I'm not a coffee drinker.
Can we get the brother discount?
Yeah. So if you guys want to go,
Are they making tea too? I'm more of a tea drinker.
I'm a tea drinker as well. But if you head over to deadhousecoffee.com, use code Tornado.
Tornado, all capitals, maybe.
All caps, and get 10% off your order.
Yeah, check it out. It looks great. I might get some. I just bought coffee today. Actually, toasted marshmallow and then peanut butter. Yeah,
fancy.
Off Amish people down Lebanon, so you know it's good.
Yeah, those Amish know what they're doing.
Yes.
And then also we have bonus content over on our Patreon. $1 gets you a shout out, and Discord. Well, Discord's free for everybody. I'm saying that because Kryptonite. Sorry, $1 gets you a shout out. $5 gets you a shout out and bonus content. So
$10 get you beat up.
$10 gets you a punch right in the nose. Sign up for that. Sign me
up for $10.
So we want to thank the Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Brad Zalonis, the PA Pile Driver Podcast, Hireth in Other Words, Jay, Austin, and Jen Myers, the superstar of the of the Patreon. So thank you guys so much for
beautiful and intelligent Jen Myers.
She's
put her over.
She's lovely. She's lovely. But yeah, so thank you guys so much. Head over to the Patreon. Like I said, $5 gets you some bonus content. We have a lot of cool stuff up there. And I'm not putting this show down. I enjoy doing this. But the Patreon is where we let our hair down and we get a little wild over there. So you know, it's a little fun. It's a good time. And we'll get to the rest of our show plugs later on. But I want to welcome our guest tonight, Mario. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
Also joined, obviously, you heard by Andy. Brian?
Yes, that's me.
Austin is here hanging out with us.
What's going on?
If you're
little bit of a change from Pete Dunne to maybe like Kip Sabian with the new appearance.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
I see it.
So Mario is he was formerly on the PA Pile Driver podcast. So he does like to talk some wrestling. And he's also a member of a podcast I'm a personal fan of. So there's two people that are catty-corner to each other.
What's the name of that?
When their podcasts come on, I stop like when it hits. If I'm in the middle of a podcast, I like to listen in sections sometimes. I will stop the podcast I'm listening to, and I will turn on one of these two podcasts. Okay. When it comes out, I want to listen right away. And that is Welcome Back, which is his podcast, and Murder My Dude, which is Brian's podcast.
There we go.
So there's two people in this chat right now. I'm very, very, I love their content they put out. So tell us a little bit about Welcome Back real quick.
Well, I appreciate the shout out. Welcome Back is literally a vanity project in a way where it's just me and my buddy Chris McNaney. We've been friends for years now. We met in college. He's the guy who I was talking to you guys earlier about, who I usually go to his house for WrestleMania weekend. But of course, because of COVID, we're kind of staying our separate ways. But it's a chance for us to become even better friends, talking about like everything pre-college and just any subjects that come to mind. We tackle those subjects and we dive in super deep. And we had you on our podcast, which was fantastic.
Yeah,
got to know you. Got to know you intimately, and it was a great time. And we try to push things. We try to push the envelope as best we can, and be as raw and real as possible when we talk about things such as our political hangover. This last year, we covered our experiences growing up with Halloween. It's always crazy subjects. But we
childhood stories growing up and stuff. Yeah.
Was that the one you said was like a PG-13 Big Mouth?
Yeah, it was kind of like they talked about like growing up, and it was like their adolescence and hitting puberty and trying to talk to girls and all that. And it was like listening to an audio version of the TV show Big Mouth. It was fun.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I pretty much treat every day of my life before today as someone else. I have no shame over my history because It's not me anymore. That's stuff that already happened. You can't change that. And so
that's the way to live.
That's how we both try to treat that podcast. That's welcome
That
back.
was Tuesday. Stop living in the past.
Yeah.
I will say this. It's very if I had to compare it to a podcast that like people listen to, because obviously if you're a celebrity or you're a comedian, everyone's going to flock to those shows before other ones.
No.
But if you're a fan of Two Bears, right? But obviously people who don't tour the world. Two Bears podcast is Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura's podcast, and they're two famous comedians.
Smart me up.
Famous comedians.
They're very popular. But
very popular.
Yeah, I think they're fun. But anyway,
who again? I'm not trying to be dick.
Bert
open
Kreischer is
Netflix.
Open Netflix.
I heard Bert Kreischer,
and Tom Segura is his friend.
I heard of Tom Savini.
No, Tom Savini's a makeup artist.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, it's very similar to that, except I like to use the term everyday people and their stories growing
Slice
up.
of life.
Yes,
is what they refer to.
It's good. I personally don't know much about them too, just from listening on PA Pile Driver and then listening to my Welcome Back. I'm more invested. Like I feel
sounds like a unique idea.
Yeah, I feel like once you listen to it, you become their new friend, and they don't even realize it, because it's just one of those podcasts where as long as you're listening along, you feel like you're becoming more connected with the host, which what you should do as a good podcast host. And I think it's a very well done show, and it's very entertaining. And even though you know nothing about them, it's a journey, and there's only a couple episodes in, and I feel like it's not too much to go back and listen to. It's very, very funny, entertaining. They're very candid with their storytelling. And it's a great way to get to know somebody.
There you go.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah.
Our latest episode's the state of the pod, and we're going to be talking about things we covered and what we hope to turn this podcast into. And
that deer story was the funniest thing.
You already listened to that episode?
I listened to it the second it dropped. Yeah.
There you go.
Man.
He talks about hitting a deer, and
don't spoil it. But
just go listen to it. It's funny. But you're here tonight to talk New Japan Pro Wrestling.
We ain't talking no deers tonight.
Yeah, a topic I don't know much about. I always keep saying on the podcast, I'm going to dive into New Japan. And then American wrestling hits us in the face with, hey, we have wrestling every day.
Yeah, and I said, I'd rather watch New Japan.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I think it's my comfort. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure New Japan's way better than WWE, but it's just like it's like that blanket that you've always had and you don't want to let go of, and that's kind of WWE to me.
It's a toxic relationship you're in.
It is,
and you keep thinking they're gonna get better, but you just have to leave.
I'm waiting for that to eventually happen, but I just can't leave yet. I'm gonna quote a Dane Cook joke. My CDs are in his truck. I can't leave that.
That's a little terribly dated now. CDs.
Yeah. I can't break up with him, Stacy. It's not that easy. My CDs are in his truck. So we're going to learn about the history of the
heavyweight title,
the IC title, and much, much more. Talk about the new title, but I'm going to turn over
the World Heavyweight Championship,
the new World Heavyweight Champions,
because this is not the world title.
This belt is
there's no world.
Yeah.
Several times in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, they've referred to the heavyweight title as World Heavyweight Title.
Yeah.
You've heard it tons of times.
A lot of people slip up, especially like Jim Ross would always say world title, and a lot of times any American would say the world title.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the I does stand for international.
Yeah, so it was the world title, but
it was one of those things, I guess, where it's like every company had their own world champion.
Yeah, and they're like, well, this is the heavyweight, but it's the world, but, whatever. Anyway,
all right. Well, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Mario. What do we got here?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I hit you up just with an idea I had. It was my time at PPW was coming towards a close, even though I'm still close with those guys, and I would love to pop in occasionally.
PA Pile Driver, not PPW.
No, I always get mixed up because we talk about PPW so much.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
but the PA Pile Driver, that's the one. My time as the PPW heavyweight champion, it was a great run, but it's got to come to a close occasionally. But on the PA Pile Driver podcast, it was a great time over there, and I had this idea for an episode, and our Patreon wasn't necessarily popping quite yet, and so I was like, you know what? I texted Chris first. I was like, Chris, you think Curtis will be mad if I hit up Tony and tell him I have an idea for an episode? And he said, go for it, and here I am. And so
we'll see how it pans out. I will say this. I'm on record saying this. You were one of my favorite members of the podcast team. I
appreciate that.
I enjoyed your humor and your flow and your communication skills and everything. I think everyone on that show is very talented, but I heavily lean towards you and Chris. So I'm excited to have you on and talk in New Japan.
Awesome. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you having me on. So if you didn't know, listeners, something crazy is happening over in good old Japan, where they have taken their two main titles, the 1A and the 1B, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, and they have unified them. They've been running around together for the last year or so as the double gold, but they have officially retired the history of both of those belts and have created a brand new title called the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Have you guys seen pictures of this thing?
I have, yeah.
Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
The day it came out, and I shared it.
The
And,
memes.
Who wants to go first?
The memes. It looks like the Divas Championship.
And the
does.
Cody Rhodes tattoo on top of it.
Cody Rhodes
That's the
tattoo.
best one.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, I'll share it. I saved it.
It's shaped like Cody Rhodes' Nightmare logo.
It fits perfect, which is weird. It's very robotic and angular, and I don't like that at all. And
You know
coming
what?
from this belt, that's the best belt ever.
Go ahead, Austin. Put it over.
See,
Yeah.
see, I think robotic is a perfect word to describe it, but I feel like that title is very heavily influenced by like Japanese art. I feel like that, like the way at least like American films depict like Japanese culture, it's usually like that futuristic sort of feel. And for me, I feel like that belt, it's still a gold plate, so I'll always love that. Like the Universal title, when they first released that, hated that. But it's a big gold belt, and it still feels like a Japanese title. It feels like it has its mark to where it won't get lost in the shuffle as just like another world title. Whereas, like, I know the IWGP Championship was beautiful. I'm not gonna.
Gorgeous.
I will prefer that belt, but when it comes to the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling, I feel like that's a really good belt, especially with the people that, well, the person that currently holds it. I feel like that's another step towards like the future of pro wrestling. I feel like that belt very much encompasses the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I enjoy what you're putting down there. I will say this too. Do you think when they remade this belt, right? They look at this title and they say, this is the belt everyone wants to be. Then AEW hits. And they pretty much took this entire idea of this title, the AEW, the big, huge nameplate in the front. Just the belt looks like a monstrous, huge. Like, and they're like, if we try to replicate that and do it again, and we're trying to go to a new audience, are people going to be like, "Oh, your title looks exactly like AEW's title"?
I mean, you could have made one that's not angular.
Yeah, all these things are well and good, but the belt looks like shit. That's the problem.
Because the wings come up, and I'm using the belt that we actually have here, and it comes like this. It looks awkward on the shoulder. Like Will Ospreay, every time he puts it on the shoulder, has it upside down because it just flows better with how you would hold the belt. And
There's
also
a lot
the belt
of blank space in the leather
where the wings are. It just it comes out too much, and it's like, and then it's a different font for IWGP, which I don't like, and it's not.
I mean,
this
is going to be said. This is going to be said whenever a company tries to rebrand, whether it's wrestling or just like any brand. But I think, unlike like Rite Aid's brand change, I don't like theirs. But New Japan's title, like why would they change?
So is Redner's.
Yeah, no, honestly, in that case, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But like you said, like AEW came out with their title, and it feels like a very similar title. Maybe a title that would eat IWGP's title. It kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
Now here's the one I'm showing Tony, the one that Brock Lesnar had. Look at that.
That's not bad either.
Yeah,
I like that.
That one's nice. I don't know if you guys have seen. This would be the Brock Lesnar belt when he had it, and then he went
to the Gen 3.
Yes, and that one in Kurt Angle had it in TNA. So
Tama Tonga talked about it on Twitter a little bit, saying you can see the influences of previous titles popping up in there.
Yeah, they had a whole thing where they took this, and that. Well, just because you had good meaning and you took all these elements doesn't mean that the belt is great. Like, the thought behind it's great, but it kind of looks kind of crappy.
Yeah, they did a whole write-up on like why there's like a sun shining at the top where the wing flows out, and I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, that was a nice read. Ugly belt, but a nice read.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna post for our video listeners. We could talk over it, but I'm gonna put up on the screen here. This is the title. This is the one we're talking about currently.
Yeah, the new IWGP World title. That's held by Will Ospreay.
And as you zoom in there, you can see like all the different colors of the different gems around there. And to be fair, the last IWGP Heavyweight Championship did have some different colored gems, but this thing kind of looks like something you'd see on Power Rangers, to be honest.
It looks, now that I'm like really looking at it, it kind of
Transformers-ish.
Yeah, like the side plates, the big. I kind of like the big side plates, but I also get like Lucha Underground vibes from this belt a little bit too. Like,
I mean, still, like, I feel like it has a very animated style to it, and that's like very much like both Japanese wrestling and Japanese like animation.
I think that what would you call these?
The grommets or whatever. I like them in the sides. They're like a little too blingy right there. But
Yeah, those are the grommets that are you can see them on the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and the side plates are a clear ode to the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. I like the ones that have the names on it. I don't know. You would obviously run out of space.
Oh, that
names.
was beautiful. Just the homage to history there. You're not just walking around as like I'm the champion. Like I'm walking around and I am the current champion, and this is the history.
The more I look at it,
it's not awful.
It's definitely not awful. Like
it's not 24/7 belt.
Yes, it's
not that bad.
This belt I definitely think can grow on me, but I think looking at this title that's sitting in front of us here on the table, compared to this is
if it was like then it came out here and it was an X more than like a V.
Yeah,
maybe. I also don't like that font. I love the lion's head though, and the gems I don't mind. I like a little gems, but don't bling it up too much like WWE does.
Yeah.
So
I would kind of like it. I'm sorry. I would kind of like it if it were the junior heavyweight title. If that was a new junior title.
Okay, yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
and it kind of looks like Ultraman Black, and I like that a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
How have these Japanese audiences responded to it? Because I know like a lot of the American feedback is shit. They'd wipe their ass with it, but I don't know how that culture, since it's a belt for them, I don't know how they've reacted to it.
No, that's a belt for everyone now. That's the world title. That's the world title.
I don't know how they reacted to it, but if they reacted negatively, I could see at some point they bring the titles back with some big storyline.
Is this the Lesnar title?
Though.
No, that's the last one.
Can you make a more beautiful title than the one you guys have on the table there, though?
I don't know. The one that's previously to it is nice, but this one is very nice. This is the best.
That one and the WWE United Kingdoms Championship are the two most beautiful belts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
I'm a belt mark for sure.
Yeah, for me, the eagle. I know we say the winged
eagle, which makes no sense because every eagle has wing. The Bret Hart title.
Well, the Shawn Michaels title.
Yeah,
for me.
Bret Hart. Hulk Hogan. Steve Austin.
That's the Hogan title. That's the Hogan title.
Yeah, that for me will always be the #1 title.
I love that belt.
I really enjoyed. I didn't like the big gold WCW title.
When Ric Flair first had it, looked awesome when it had the silver and gold.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
I know that's usually up there for people. I really like. I was an Intercontinental champion.
Mm-hmm.
That is my favorite, the classic Intercontinental title.
Yeah, it's simple but nice.
The new Intercontinental has grown on me.
It's nice. No, I like the new one. The old one is my favorite.
Yeah,
I can't picture it. I picture that shitty 2000 era's one.
Yeah.
I really like the WCW United States.
Oh, you don't like the oval?
No, not at all.
Oh, I love the oval.
No.
That's one of the belts I probably.
I have just like really good memories attached to the oval, like the RVD, the Jeff Hardy, the Chris Jericho.
I was so lame.
Yeah,
that belt is beautiful with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah,
the old WCW US title I liked a lot too.
Yeah,
that's
New Japan's US title is awesome.
It is very nice. Yeah,
but honestly, the AEW World Championship is a nice belt.
It's a little too.
It's huge.
Busy
it's like
for
smushed a little bit. Yeah, it looks like the middle plate is smushed.
Yeah, I would wish that the middle plate and the side plates were more squares or something, and it was more.
It's kind of like the IWGP Heavyweight Championship ate the Gift of the Gods Championship from Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
That's how it looks to me.
Just has
I'm also
stuff.
a fan of NXT's title.
I like that one.
Both versions of their world title.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And their new tag team titles for the women's are pretty cool.
Yeah, they look better. They look good.
I mean,
I think the TNT title looks pretty good too. For being simple.
NXT UK's title, like you had said, is a beautiful title, but their tag belts are really nice too.
They are
gorgeous titles. But that's not why we're here tonight.
No,
we're going to talk about.
That's why I'm here. Speak for yourself.
It happens here on Tornado Tag. We go on ADHD. We like butterflies, and then we just ride that way for a while.
Well, the title looks like a butterfly.
It does.
Yeah. And that beautiful butterfly of a belt is the combination of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Of course, the divisions are very strict over there in Japan. And I'm going to hop around in my notes a little bit, but I'll sure to hit everything that we talked about earlier. But these belts have been in this company for, decades for the Heavyweight Championship, maybe 10 years for the IC title. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Thereabouts.
But for the last year or so, since Wrestle Kingdom 13 or 14, we had the double gold. So these belts that we're talking about here, they've been carried around as a single title, defended together, with the exception of one time, which we'll talk about. And that was Tatsuya Naito at Wrestle Kingdom, where he came in as the IC title and he took on the heavyweight champion at the time, which I think was Okada, and he walked away with both straps, and it was defended that way for a year, transferred that way for a year. How'd you guys feel about the double gold?
I didn't mind. I don't like the titles together, but I was like, well, it'll only be for a little bit. And it's like, oh, it's for a year and multiple people are going to have it. I was like,
It was fine for me. Japan, all Japan did that with Triple Crown forever. There's 3 of them. Then you had the double tag titles. So yeah, it was.
I think
you had the J Crown with 8 of them. So it's a Japanese thing. It's fine. It was fine for me.
I think it was a signification of like an end of an era. Especially with Naito being like the first guy to have both. I think the story of him getting to that top level and then him being the one to have both belts to start, I think was a good like end of era.
By the way, it did last about 10 years. The first IWGP Intercontinental Champion was crowned on March 4th, 2011.
Oh.
Wow. So it was announced in January, but actually crowned in March and I know Andy probably knows this.
It's in March, so
where and what building was the first Intercontinental Champion crowned?
Corkin Hall?
No.
Oh, not Corkin Hall? Well, really? Is it a big place?
It's a small place, but it has a big history.
The Hamburg Fieldhouse.
The ECW Arena?
Yes, the ECW Arena.
Wow,
well, it was the Asylum at that point.
Shit.
Yeah, it was when they did a US tour.
Was it
Jersey All Pro?
Alhambra?
Yeah, well, I think at that point it was the Asylum.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Asylum. It was between New Alhambra and 2300, and what's it called? Is it still 2300 now? But yeah, because they had a tournament. They had a tournament, and it was won by MVP. And
which sounds ridiculous.
It was won by MVP. It was the first New Japan US shows, and they did them in conjunction with Jersey All Pro. I think they did one in like New York, one in New Jersey, or it might have been Boston, New York, and Philly. But the last one was at the arena. That's where they did the finals. Through this tournament, MVP beats Okada, who's not Okada yet. He's not Okada quite yet.
Is that young boy Okada?
Yeah, it's black hair Okada. He's not the Rainmaker yet.
He didn't exist.
And so he beats Okada. He beats Naito, who's still in his team with Yujiro Takahashi. And in the finals, after beating Okada and Naito, who do you go to after that in the finals?
This is screaming 5 stars right here.
He beats he beats Toriano.
Wow.
Hey man, that's 2020. What was that called? Don't you hate it when you start talking before you remember what it's called?
Yes.
But the King of Pro Wrestling 2020 champion.
Oh yeah.
Put some respect on Yano's name, all right?
I would rather Yano be the first Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah. I will say this: the double champion thing was fun. The only thing I wasn't a huge fan of is once they did it, then every single company had to do double champ stuff, and it just got so overplayed and washed out. I was so sick of it.
And the Intercontinental title was very nice, but next to the world title, the heavyweight title, it's like, no, it's not that nice.
Especially when it's a boot. It's a bootleg of the original.
Yeah, because the original one Naito broke.
Yeah, to pieces.
And then Tanahashi brought it back.
Yeah.
But it was like lesser, so it was all flat. Didn't have the layered millimeters, the stacked plates.
Yeah, because he brought it back, quote unquote, from a manufacturing unit in Pakistan, probably.
And your nameplate here is Tanahashi's nameplate on your champion here.
Yeah,
they didn't do what AWA did and make the belt in a prison.
Yeah,
yeah. All right, let's get back on.
Yeah, we had that double gold, and that was Naito had it. He lost it to Evil, which we'll talk about later. He won it back, and then he lost it to the final champion, Kota Bushi. Did Kota Bushi deserve to be the first IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, in your guys' opinion?
I'm okay with it.
As someone who doesn't watch New Japan Wrestling, right? One of the first stars. So I always, this is gonna sound terrible, right? But I only know them by like their gimmick thing, right? So Kota Bushi was the guy I was like, oh, that's the dude who does he's like, that's Kenny's friend, right?
That's the Golden Star. What are you talking about? Yeah. Kenny's friend. That's the Gold Star.
And then the guy, I always say the eyeball guy, that's Naito, right?
Naito.
He like how he opens his one eye, and then Tanahashi, which is like their John Cena, right?
Yeah.
Like he's
Japanese John Cena.
I thought for a while there, like if you look at the build of like New Japan, if you didn't hear about Naito, you didn't hear about Tanahashi. Like I kind of felt like he kind of was under the radar for a long time.
Well, he was.
You're forgetting one guy. You're
Yeah.
forgetting
Yeah.
Okada.
Yeah, the greatest wrestler.
Oh yeah, Okada. But like all
Yeah.
those three guys were always being said, and this guy was kind of under the radar. But I felt he deserved to be in that tier
because he wouldn't sign a contract.
Yeah,
and he was just working freelance. So they're like, well, we can't put too much steam behind you if you don't sign a contract. And he finally signs a contract.
That was he probably would have won the Cruiserweight Classic if he would have signed a contract with WWE.
Yeah.
But that's been the story for him forever.
Yeah, no, going back to the like futuristic point that I was trying to make with the title and them having a new style and trying to usher in a new style, I think it makes sense for him to be like the last holder of the double belt and the first of the new title.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
He is the latest guy they tried to elevate, so it does make sense. And that's going to be something he has that's going to... I mean, it's not like he's young. It took him a while to kind of get to that level because of the whole contract thing, but it makes sense to kind of cement him as that upper echelon right there with the Okadas and the Naitos and the Tanahashis. Yeah. Now you can speak his name in the same breath because he is the first.
Yeah, sure. Then that sounds great and all until you get the fact that he was double champ at Wrestle Kingdom in January. February happened, March happened. They made the new belt, first champion, and 2 weeks later, he loses the belt. 2 weeks, the first champion of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He
first defense
had it for 2 weeks. First defense, lost it to Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have had him lose. I would have had him hold that belt till Wrestle Kingdom next year.
I was very surprised when Ospreay won that.
Our fantasy booking, I think, on the Patreon, we're like, well, now that he has both these belts, he shows up on AEW and he's like, you're not the Kenny Omega who's my friend and the Kenny Omega who I knew and who I love. And, you know, let's put because at the time we're like, oh, Kenny will have AEW and probably Impact's title. So it's 2 belts and 2 belts and one person walks out with all of them. You know what I mean? Type deal. And it just, that was our fantasy booking and it didn't happen.
I thought Will Ospreay would win the G1 and then get a shot.
Yeah.
And then keep Okada. And I thought they would actually separate the Intercontinental and then put that on Okada.
Well, how do you feel?
And not be the world champion.
How do you feel if you're Jay White and you think you're going to be the next AJ, the next Kenny?
Jay White's made, man.
And
I don't think he's upset.
Yeah, but now like Ospreay is like the new.
Yeah, but I mean he's
the new American face. Well, British face.
Well, Jay White is from New Zealand.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah.
John Moxley's he's the U.S. face. Come on now.
John Moxley, when
Jeff Cobb.
Skip ahead. When travel gets back to normal, he might be world champion.
Moxley,
yeah, because they really like him.
Yeah,
I mean it's down the road. Anyway,
I think once they can do travel and they can do full crowds, I think you're going to see that door's going to become not even just open; it's going to be a saloon.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that have him in their contract they want to do in Japan as well.
You're going to see people travel.
That's the other tricky thing with Ospreay. I don't know if AEW want to touch him because of the whole speaking out thing.
Yeah, but I think he was cleared from it. Like, I think they found out something about like.
Was he cleared like on the same terms of like a Matt Riddle and a?
Well, no, he wasn't directly involved in something, but he caused like 2 women wrestlers to not be booked.
Yeah, which that isn't as bad as sexual assault.
So they were pretty much like, well, we had relations. It ended kind of toxic. Please don't bring her in because I don't want to like.
No, it was something like he never did anything with the girl ever.
Okay.
It was something like one of his friends did or something. That's what they claimed. But then I
had
think,
a bad take.
I think they had a workaround where then they said actually wasn't Will Ospreay, had nothing to do with it.
Well, here's the deal.
So it wasn't bad at all.
And maybe I'm not pitching this right, and I'm not trying to diminish like the movement because I think it did a lot of good things. But like, if let's say this podcast team, right? You've been a part of my team for a while. There's someone who wants to join, but you have history with this person because back in the day,
if I said I dated Gertrude and she's a little nutty, then you'd be like, well, maybe let's not bring Gertrude on.
Yeah, because
but that doesn't make you a bad guy.
Yeah, because I think we have a connection, we have a team, we have a flow, we have a thing, and I think maybe bringing an outside element. I mean, we've done it on this podcast before. We brought an outside element in, and it just didn't flow very well.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think that will affect Will Ospreay in AEW.
Yeah,
at all.
I know Twitter hates him, but. That's like kind of Twitter's only claim to trying to be good wrestling fans is just hating on Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I guess I don't know much about the situation, so I can't completely speak on it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't stain on him as badly as Rich Swann's previous arrest kind of stuck on him. That one always comes to mind when I think about him. But again, you can't live in the past, and you know, as much as we like to hold people accountable, as we should. But when it comes time to convict or prove innocence, if it doesn't go that far, at some point you have to be like, oh, well, we don't know the truth. But it doesn't mean that their life ends or anyone else's life ends.
Yeah, and this is kind of a hot take too, but I'm always in the boat where even if you do make a mistake, if you legitimately 100% own up for it, I don't think your life should be over forever. I think you should have the opportunity to rehabilitate yourself. I think everyone has a chance to deserve a second chance.
Yeah, and learn from it too. Just because he doesn't end up in jail, or we have no idea what he did or did not do, but now that we are more aware of those situations, let's make sure those situations never happen again.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
in the meantime, he's walking around with the World Heavyweight Championship, and this belt being booked onto a new champion so quickly, it's frustrating for me.
Yeah, New Japan usually doesn't flip titles like that. I would have never had Naito lose. He would have kept it like the evil. He would have lost it to Bushi, and then Bushi would have kept it to Wrestle Kingdom next year. We would have talked about
no one's upset that Evil lost his title. So
no, nobody.
So like,
now people are upset that he won it.
But that was like their first string of shows right when they restarted, right? So I've noticed like with, I guess under new, like there's a new president in New Japan, right? Like how long is he? So the pandemic is over. They resume wrestling. Boom, immediate shock champion. Same thing. They introduce a new title. You think Kota Bushi is going to hold it for a while. Boom, new champion. So I feel like this might start to be a reoccurring theme in New Japan.
Well, it's still Ghetto kind of calling all the shots when it comes to that.
Yeah, I really wish that it was Naito who got to be the first one. He's someone who definitely deserved it. Kota Bushi, not so much, and definitely not Will Ospreay yet. Will Ospreay would have been a great heavyweight champion 3 years ago, but we can't rewrite the past. And I get lost in fantasy booking too much. But as we move forward together in this podcast, let's talk about the Intercontinental title. Let's break this down. We have a new title, but we have two great histories, two beautiful belts, one beautiful belt, one knockoff of a beautiful belt, but still a decent looking belt. And let's dive into the history of the IC title. Just a brief overlook.
All right, who wants to go first?
That's your cue, Brian.
That's me. So we did kind of
say how it started.
Yeah,
we did kind of brush over. Yeah, it was really supposed to be a symbol of New Japan branching out. I have good words. Branching out into the US, and like we were talking about, it was actually something where the first champion was crowned in the US, and it was an American MVP, and it was kind of where New Japan, and this was 2011, it wasn't running on all 8 cylinders like it is now. New Japan was still coming out of their dark ages. Like, people now that see New Japan don't realize how bad it was
when the Great Khali was in New Japan.
When the Giant Silva, Bob Sapp, a lot of people, we'll talk about bad IWGP champions.
Yeah,
they all come from that kind of area in
like
the early 2000s
to like 2008, somewhere around there. Like, they were not good years. Like,
anything from when the Three Musketeers kind of stopped to Nakamura and Tanahashi is pretty bad.
Yes,
and they're coming out of this now, and they're starting to branch out into the US. I think by 2011, 2012 is when. Before New Japan World, they were on like Justin TV, and you could get the pay-per-views, and there was no English commentary. And so they're starting to get a little bit of a foothold. And so they bring in the Intercontinental title as their secondary title. And MVP is the first champion. He loses it to Masato Tanaka. And it was always something for the guys who aren't really going to be in the mix, or for people who would kind of lift the title up, because it really, I think, gains a lot of respect very early on because they put it on Shinsuke Nakamura in 2012.
Exactly.
And that is the guy.
Goto had it too.
Goto's
always at a certain level. He never.
But when I think of that title, there's certain people I think of when I see a title. When I see that old Intercontinental title, I think of Mr. Perfect. When I see the Eagle title, I think of Hulk Hogan. When I see the IWGP Intercontinental title, most people probably think Naito. I think Nakamura.
Yeah,
I think Nakamura had it 5 times.
I think they both did.
And Naito had it 6 if you count the double.
Oh, yeah, it's with a double, yeah.
Yeah, Nakamura had the longest single reign.
And that's where it also had that thing where you have the is it the 1A, 1B title? Where obviously the IWGP title is the title, but you had that one Tokyo Dome show, that one Wrestle Kingdom, where the IC title match is Nakamura, Tanahashi, the two big stars, and your IWGP title match is the two young guys, Naito and Okada, and they do the vote to say what's going to be the main event, and of course they're going to vote for the big stars, and the IC title goes on last.
Yeah, so when you look at that and you think of Nakamura elevation, you can't leave it just on Nakamura elevating it. It was a lot of help with the back and forth of Tanahashi.
Oh yeah,
and I think this would be a great point in the show for me to rank the top 5 IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Champions. These are my opinions. They do not reflect the opinions of Tornado Tag. And feel free to tweet me at Mario Miley. So,
and I don't think there was that many total. I'm trying to get
15.
Like,
I have a list in front of me. There are 15 champions.
Wow, how about that?
Feel free to backseat drive and boo me and insult me the whole time I'm doing this, or be like, oh yeah, those are good picks as I knock out my top 5 champions. And this is going to be a lot less interesting, I think, than my top 5 heavyweight champions.
You say bad luck Fale, I'm leaving.
Underrated, but not making the list. At number 5, I actually have a tie. I gave the number 5 spot to Kota Bushi as our last champion and MVP as our first champions. You can't go without the first and the last. And I think MVP had a lot of hope for what we would do with this title. Sadly, not much, but you can't go anywhere without MVP as the first. And of course, Kota Bushi not doing much with it singularly, but being that last one and ushering us into the new title. That's where I'm starting off at number 5. At number 4, I think this might be a hot take here, Chris Jericho.
I felt like that was coming as soon as you said hot take.
There it is. Chris Jericho. He's someone who's you can't think of the WWE Intercontinental Championship without thinking of Chris Jericho up in there in the rankings of those guys over there.
If you're gonna say Chris Jericho's title run, you have to put the era of that Jericho, and that's the era of the Painmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Jericho hopping over to New Japan. This is pre-AEW existing because he came in right off the bat at AEW. But it brought a lot of eyes to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He had one reign, I think one successful defense before dropping. Mm-hmm. And he didn't do a lot, but he drew a lot. And that's why I gave him the number 4 spot. The number 3 spot I give to Tanahashi. He is, again, Japanese John Cena. He's like the guy, and how much of an effort he gave in going for that title and winning that title is instrumental in raising that to the 1B status as opposed to being the second mid-tier title, which, of course, at the time, I think the Never Openweight kind of became the number 2.
What a good-looking guy he is.
Yeah, everyone says that. New Japan has a lot of good-looking men. Let's just turn into the New Japan good-looking pot.
I think it comes down to like
Ibushi
in America, and I think this is the problem we have going on in our culture, where there's a lot of Asian hate, and I think a lot of times you look at Asian men, and I don't think they're deemed as sex symbols, especially in America.
I
think you look at some of these strapping men over in New Japan, and Jesus Christ, there's some good-looking people over there.
They should put Tanahashi as like the new Old Spice guy in America. That'd really warm.
That'd be great.
That'd really warm us up.
And
then I think if I had to say though, like good-looking guy award over there in New Japan, it's definitely Ibushi.
It's Kota. It's totally Kota.
Yeah, it's probably
unless he smiles.
Yeah,
if you see his teeth, he drops down a few notches. But
who's that?
Kota Bushi.
Kota Bushi.
Yeah, he's handsome when he keeps his mouth shut. And so. We have a toss-up here where some people might make my number 2 their number 1 and vice versa, but I'm going to give Tatsuya Naito the number 2 spot as top IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Champions. He's his final attempt. He knew that Kota Bushi has beat him. He knew that he doesn't deserve the world title, but he didn't want to see. And it's a beautiful end of a story arc too, how he abused the IC title in the past, kicking it around, everything. But respecting that title now, not wanting it to go away, asking for and receiving that last shot. If he if he beat Kota Bushi, he wouldn't be double champion. He would be taking that IC title away from him, and he of course failed. But his
Who am I looking up here?
Tatsuya Naito.
No, I
Sonata.
tell him look up Sonata because we're good-looking men. Just type in Google.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Sonata. We're going to talk about Sonata in a little bit. So Tatsuya Naito, he's my number 2, and my number 1. If you didn't gather already from our discussion thus far, the top IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship champion is, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura.
So if you look at him, his photo on New Japan Pro Wrestling,
He wasn't Nakamura yet.
Yeah, he has like short hair.
Yeah.
I scroll, and he has a goatee. I scrolled right by him.
He wasn't until like 20. What would I say? 14 maybe or 20? Yeah, that's when he was Nakamura.
No offense to the guy Nakamura, not one of the handsome New Japan.
No.
Though,
I think
if you're
you got
looking for a
Okada.
great Nakamura match, you need Takeover London. NXT Takeover London against Sami Zayn. That's a fantastic.
New Orleans.
Was that New Orleans?
I think it was right before WrestleMania, I believe.
Yeah.
Or Dallas.
First match.
Yeah,
Dallas.
Dallas.
And
yeah.
some say that he has not topped that in America yet. He hasn't had the best run in America.
Remember that time?
Definitely not on the main roster, at least.
Where him and AJ squared up in a ladder match. We're like, it's gonna happen, and then it never happened.
And then we had a match and it was okay.
We had 4 matches, and they all
and they're all-
involved those.
Yeah,
And none of them were as good as the one in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom.
yeah.
I understand that they want to tell a different story because they're in a different company, but just telling a story around low blows just feels cheap. It feels like a low blow to both of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Shinsuke came to America to take it easy. Let's call it.
Yeah,
what it is.
I think anybody has to put Nakamura on the top of the list of
Do
New
any
Japan or Continental.
the only person I would have maybe worked in that top 5 is Goto, but everybody else,
Yeah.
Goto would be the one.
Here's a quick question I want to sneak in here and hope it doesn't go on a huge tangent. Is there any guys currently on the WWE roster who are former New Japan guys that when their contract goes up, you maybe see them hold this brand new title to say they did it one time in their career?
Well, there's not many that were in New Japan.
So you have pretty much what I'm alluding-
Nakamura, I think, is it.
The only ones I would want to
AJ.
probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would love to see Finn Balor work his way back over, but he's receiving so much money from Vince. There's no way he's going back over.
I think Nakamura will end his career there. I mean, he might not be world champion, but
He'll go back to do multi-man. He'll go back to be like Tenzan or one of those guys.
Do you think if not when Nakamura leaves, do you think there's any point where he goes back to like New Japan just does one-offs or small stuff?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I think that,
you think he ends his entire wrestling career at WWE?
No,
I don't either.
he's
AEW.
I mean, I could see it. Because if he wants to go out in like grand fashion, like obviously it would make sense for him to like go back to New Japan, but like I don't want to see him in that role where he's just doing multi-mens. That doesn't feel like Shinsuke Nakamura. I feel like if he's gonna end his career, I feel like he's already moved to America, really likes surfing and really likes Florida for that reason. So I could definitely see him ending his career at WWE.
And think about all those guys who wrapped up at WWE that seemed like they were done wrestling and then popped up in other companies. Like, are we really gonna sit here and say that Mick Foley in TNA was awesome? Are we gonna sit here and say that Kurt Angle really thrived elsewhere? Like, yeah, he had great matches, but when you think about Kurt Angle, you think about the wrestling machine. You think about him hopping in there in that battle royale for the World Heavyweight Championship. You don't think about their time outside of WWE.
I mean, Kurt Angle spent more time in TNA than he did at WWE.
Yeah,
crazy,
I think I mean, like I wasn't a TNA fan, but then like kind of going back and listening to old TNA stuff and listening to podcasts and watching
Something.
he had a good career in
TNA from like 2003 to like 2008 was pretty good,
yeah.
and then it got real shitty. But I mean, I want to
Some of the
review one
booking
show
was
at
a little
FTV.
out there, but
Yeah, but because they had Vince Russo in and out, but for the most part, them years there was some good stuff.
If you look at like Kurt Angle, you're like, when you think Kurt Angle, one of his best matches that gets the most plays on WWE, which match are you thinking?
Brock Lesnar or Shawn Michaels.
His Iron Man match.
It sucks to say, but the only match on WWE they shove down your throat is him and versus Shane.
He does beat the shit out of you. It is good.
So would you rather watch him and Shane or go watch him and Joe?
I mean, it's different, but I do love that Shane match. Yeah.
And with that point, let's close the door. Let's give a final eulogy to the IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. It wasn't the oldest title. It wasn't the prettiest title. But it has been instrumental in our growing of what a wrestling match truly could be. You know, we look at the 24/7 title and think, what a joke. That's how people looked at the IC title in the IWGP. That's how they looked at it at one point. And if they can turn themselves around, I think that any belt can. And that belt gave me hope.
That put some respect on the 425 champion, R-Truth.
Rest in peace, IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. We hope to see you again one day.
I believe we will. But I want to say it was also the first belt that had a ladder match in New Japan.
Really?
Yeah, Kenny and Michael Elgin.
So do you think they were influenced by WWE's IC with the white strap and the?
Maybe.
Maybe I wouldn't. I would say maybe a coincidence.
I like the white leather on a belt. I don't know, something.
It's nice to.
Did they have? I don't even know if they had. Did they bring back that title? The white, like classic Intercontinental title. By 2011, was it there?
Oh yeah, Cody. Are you talking WWE?
Yes.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes brought it back.
Yeah, I just didn't know when. It was before 2011.
Well, the Intercontinental belt in New Japan though started out as a different title. It was very ugly, and it was black. Okay. It was very, very ugly.
By the way, totally unrelated, but just news like that's going on right now as we record. The Andre Battle Royal had a very odd winner.
What was it, Andre?
Wait.
Yeah, it was on SmackDown.
The ghost of Andre.
Wasn't it like pre-show for Mania Night 1?
No, I don't think they're doing matches on the pre-show because they want to have that first entrance be a big thing. It's probably going to be Drew.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, they did the Andre Battle Royal on SmackDown.
Wow, win. That'd be awesome.
Huh? Did who win?
Budenhagen.
No,
they got over.
Budenhagen.
No, I don't even know one guy that's in the match. I can guess.
Of all people,
was it Kalisto?
No.
Damn, he's been having a real like weird push on Twitter right now.
Of all people, Jey Uso won the Andre Battle Royal, but the runner-up was Nakamura, which is why I wanted to bring it up.
Well, you know that once you win the Andre Battle Royal, you go absolutely nowhere. So
yes.
You know.
So that's Cody Rhodes unveiled the classic IC title at Hell in a Cell 2011.
Oh wow, okay.
So it was right around that same time period.
Yeah. But like Dandy was saying, the original IC title was not the white background. Maybe that's they might have just done it to differentiate it. They might have just done it for Nakamura has vibrant colors.
Yeah,
they wanted to make it stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that belt being dead and buried. Though it's referred to often as the 1B, a lot of people look at it as the number 2 belt. What belt now takes that slot? We have the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. We have the Never Openweight Championship. We have the Junior Heavyweight Championship and the brand new New Japan Strong Championship.
Well, I think that stays in America. Yeah, so my bet would go for the Never title because
for now,
the US title is going to be back and forth. So I think put it on Tanahashi. Even though the Never title is very ugly, I'm going to go with the Never title.
Yeah, for now I think the Never title.
I like it.
I love how much New Japan respects their junior heavyweights, and I can see that being booked as like the number 2 belt in the company for a while. When you look at like who's going to represent the company, I think they're going to take a more important stance on who holds that strap, the junior heavyweight.
Yeah, I could see ELP, Phantasma. I could see him having a good junior heavyweight run, trying to elevate that title.
I promise, like a lot of them guys, sometimes they don't transfer to being a heavyweight. Like Jushin Liger never did. He probably could have, but like a lot of times they're only heavyweight or junior heavyweights. That's why Kushida left.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the first major Japanese guy to leave the company and hold a belt, like with this whole open door policy now in another company?
Okada.
Kenta.
Ooh, Okada, Kenta.
Okada.
I think Okada deserves it, but like I could see Kenta based on the way he's been
maybe
with Moxley.
Yeah.
Let's
now they're building to Moxley versus Yuji Nagata. So I was like, what?
Yeah, I saw that. He called him out on Twitter, right?
Yeah. So
I want to see that Moxley Josh Barnett site. I'm gonna immediately after this show. I'm watching it.
I want to watch one from last year. What was it? Suzuki and 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I never seen it.
I want honestly. This is kind of off topic, but I want to see Josh Barnett versus Frank Mir in a blood sport.
Nah, you want to see Frank Mir when he trains a little bit more in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
see that.
Josh Barnett not the former Dasher Hatfield, but he is a very good professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Like beyond being a MMA fighter, Josh Barnett is very good at professional wrestling.
But I think Frank Mir can adapt to that style quicker.
He's got to get more under him. Like Barnett. First of all, Barnett trained with Billy Robinson, who was a professional wrestler.
Yes.
And Billy Robinson's people tend to be good wrestlers. Shayna Baszler was a Robinson disciple.
Yeah.
That camp, the Wigan Snake Pit, whatever you want to call it, those people can do well in pro wrestling.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Bloodsport 6 just aired last night.
Yeah.
It's $20 on Fight TV. Definitely go check it out. It was from what everyone's saying, a fucking fantastic show.
I don't want to spoil a lot, but congratulations to our buddy Matt Mikowski picked up a win there.
Yeah, so friends of the podcast, Yoya made his debut. Some people you're going to see on the upcoming Frog Sport are all making their debuts on Bloodsport 6 as well. So you're going to see some transfer over from Bloodsport to Frog Sport, which is exciting.
Yeah,
Can you guys give me a brief rundown on what Bloodsport like truly is? Because it's not a shoot fight.
No, they try to make it look. It's basically worked MMA. It's wrestling.
It's like Raw Underground.
It's the Kumite.
God.
yes. But
Yeah.
it's Raw Underground, but good.
But it's taken seriously.
Yeah.
Do you remember in TNA when Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe had the no rope like MMA match and Kurt Angle wore MMA shorts? That was kind of like the precursor. And that was like what 2000.
As someone who left professional wrestling and became a big mixed martial arts fan, and then seeing this style become more popular and utilized, I'm a huge fan of it because especially when you see these transitional people like the first match,
Matt Riddle, because it was Matt Riddle's Bloodsport.
Yeah,
that was
Matt
the
Riddle.
first one. Matt
But,
Riddle
like,
Minoru.
It wasn't even done as a Bloodsport match. But Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor was just like.
Mhm.
Was just these guys are legit beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
like, you can see when someone's doing a work punch or when they're like laying into each other. I was like, they're kicking the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
Are
there's
there
a big
championships over there, or
no, not at this point. There's it's an offshoot of GCW, and they do a lot of. There's a big emphasis on striking. There's a big emphasis on grappling, mat wrestling, submissions.
Okay.
The striking's all open hand too, I believe.
Yeah, there's no pins. It's all knockout or submission.
And there's no ropes,
There's no ropes. Yeah,
You want to
there
talk
are
about
there are
strong
countouts.
style.
but it is a work. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. It's a good performance. It's a new style.
Yeah.
All right.
And you'll see people like with crazy, like the jiu-jitsu and the ground game and the transitions are all there. It looks good. Like you
a
don't
guy
see
like
someone.
Thatcher would be real fun in that.
Yeah.
environment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't
It
see.
caters more than that type.
Thatcher did it. Thatcher did the first couple before he signed with WWE. I think he fought. I want to say he fought Killer Cross. No,
Didn't he fight
Carrion Cross.
Moxley? Like 2
No,
years ago?
Dickinson did. Chris
Okay.
Dickinson.
Yeah. All right,
It
let's get back.
was supposed to be Barnett, but no. Who did? No, Moxley fought Dickinson too. Dickinson last year because Barnett couldn't do the. Actually, Barnett probably could do the fight, but I don't think I don't want to spoil anything. But go ahead, let's move on.
Yeah, let's get to the next segment.
Yeah, I mean, after the first funeral we had here, it's nice to have a little blood sport to really cleanse the palate before we hop into this next sad moment where we take a glance back.
With blood.
Exactly. Just really clear that flavor out of there as we take a look back fondly at the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Let's dive into its history just a little bit.
And the funny thing here is that for the first about 15 years that New Japan was around, they didn't have a title like that.
Nope.
The IWGP title proper comes around in 87. New Japan started in 72. And International Wrestling Grand Prix is the literal name of the IWGP. That's what it stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And it started as a tournament, kind of like the G1 now. In 83, Hulk Hogan won the first IWGP league. Before
Not
that,
on my list. He's not on my list, by the way.
not an actual champion. He didn't have it wasn't like a defended title. It was just something you won every year. It was almost like a sporting event where you would
Like a
win.
trophy.
Like,
Like,
Cameron-
what,
It was the
the Lombardi
precursor to the G1 climax, actually.
Yeah, there were a few things. There was the I forget what the first one was called. Then it was the MSG League for a while, and then
Great.
for a few years it was the IWGP League. Hogan wins the first one, and they always kind of acted like it was a shoot that he had like Inoki was supposed to win, but that Hogan had knocked him out with his axe bomb or clothesline. But that was the plan, and then Inoki won most of them. He won in 84. Andre the Giant wins in 85, and then Inoki wins in 86, 87, and 88. And the one in 87 is for the actual IWGP title. And that's when it becomes a real title, and your first champion very fittingly so, is the guy who, for the first 35, 40 years that New Japan was around, was New Japan Pro Wrestling, the founder, the owner, the everything, Antonio Inoki.
And his first defense was against Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what it's his defense match. His first defense match was August 2nd, 1987.
Goku.
Thank you. Versus Crusher Bam Bam Bigelow.
I like how they said them names, like Punisher.
It's kind of cool.
Wasn't his name, or was it somebody else, Crusher Yurkoff, and everybody's laughed at it?
I will say this: if you go to New Japan's website, right, it gives you a full rundown of the entire championship, and it has nice photos and everything. But like right here, if I click on this, it takes me straight to the match.
Yeah, which is cool.
That is really nice.
Yeah.
So if you go to it, like you can see first defense versus Bam Bam Bigelow,
first title match.
And his first title match versus Masa Saito. And you click right on it, and it takes you straight to the match. Not everyone has that. Obviously, you'll see the next champion here in line. His defense or his title.
It's
match
weird. A lot of stuff isn't on New Japan World, which is weird because it's been out for a few years. It's like.
One of my favorite things about looking at those histories is the fact that they keep a log of title defenses. Like you go to WWE and all it shows you is this is the guy that's champion, he lost to this guy. This guy's champion, he lost to this guy. But you don't get to see defenses, who they had it against, when they had it. Like that's something they could probably take notes from.
Yeah, I like that, and I like the he's the 16th champion.
I love that. Yeah,
all places should do that because that's awesome. He's 16th, and this is his third title defense. Because when it was Okada had it for that great run, it's like, oh, this is its eighth defense. No one's ever done it before. Can he do it?
Yeah.
You know?
But also, like
every name on this list is on here a lot. Holy fuck!
If every promotion did that, it wouldn't make New Japan's as epic as it feels.
True. And it would normally be tough with WWE, especially because of the way they tour. And how many times did Hulk Hogan defend that title on a house show over those 4 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He would have made this is his 700th defense of the title.
When you guys think about the world, not the world heavyweight, but the heavyweight title, who are some of your guys' like least favorite champions? For me, I can't stand that Lesnar held the belt.
Yes, Lesnar's one that pops into my head.
Yeah,
Bob's one
of the worst.
All the MMA guys. All the MMA.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not Takayama. I love Takayama. Actually, no, the one guy, just because of the storyline, and this is going way back in the 90s, Takada, who with the UWFI invasion, and they actually take New Japan's title. That was a cool story.
Tony showed me a guy like, who's this? Salman Hashimoto? No, Maikov?
Oh, yeah. He was the Russian wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Inoki always had that love for the legit fighters, and that's kind of what ran New Japan on the ground in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Well, let's give Bob,
Makabe.
Let's give Bob a little credit. He is the first and looking like only
Black World Champion
of New Japan.
Bob Sapp was like a cult figure in Japan for a while. He was like it was a fad. It was very much a fad, and a lot of it was because he was a big Black American guy, and he kind of became like a pop culture celebrity there, but it fizzled out, and he kind of fizzled out too because he got into boxing and he wasn't very good. He was just
most people know Bob Sapp from The Longest Yard than they do his MMA career.
Yeah,
he vacated the title. I didn't know this when he lost the K1 fight.
Yeah,
and that was so they defended the wrestling title and a K1 fight, which
in a shoot kickboxing match.
Yeah, which sometimes has worked. But anyway, he lost it to Vegeta, so that's kind of crazy.
Like
Bob Sapp.
Well, no, that's Vegeta. This is food.
Oh, okay.
Bob Sapp had a great line about fighting. He said, "Getting hit hurt a lot more once I had $2 million in the bank."
One of the other guys I am highly disappointed at, looking back through the title reigns here. I don't like it. It's one of my least favorite champions. But how do you guys feel about Jay White holding the strap?
A little too soon.
Crazy about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Entirely.
I'm okay with it because I feel like it's just like for me, it's like when Bray Wyatt first held the WWE Championship and barely.
Yeah, I hated that too.
Yeah, exactly. But it's potentially setting up. It's like as soon as you like go with it, it's like cool. He already has an established like title win. We could go back to this.
I think it was because Kenny left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what threw the monkey wrench in the
Absolutely.
plan there, because I believe Kenny would have held the title to the next Wrestle Kingdom, lost it back to Okada. Instead,
Yeah.
they had Tanahashi step in, win it for a little bit, lose to Jay White, and then Jay White loses to Okada at Madison Square Garden, which was awesome.
I think the plan was always to have Okada win at the Garden.
Okay, I can see that. So maybe it would have been Kenny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Actually, maybe not, because people would have probably gotten pissed if Kenny would have lost at the Garden.
Is there any New Japan champion who has that
Evil,
moment?
well, let's say about
where-
bad champions.
Yeah, I'll let you get back to your list here.
That was the last one I had for
I was just about to say that
champions.
too.
So right now, I think he's a victim of circumstance, Drew McIntyre, because WWE is in a situation now where they're trying to protect too many people at the same time, where certain guys can't lose certain guys and they can't lose clean and they can't do all this. Like Drew McIntyre's run, for me anyway, hasn't been spectacular, because the guys you would want him to wrestle or beat, he can't beat clean, or he can't go over on them.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, they have this whole run with Sheamus where it's like,
Who cares?
Sheamus is like, you took everything from me. And I was like, Sheamus, you've been in the company the entire time while Drew McIntyre was fired, fighting for his life and other businesses.
You were a multiple-time world champion.
Yeah, this storyline makes no sense. But it's just like, how, I don't know, has New Japan ever had that where they, like, because it seems like they don't really protect people like that. Like, people fight, like, the best fight the best, and if you win, you win, you lose type deal.
Yeah, there's not really storyline. So it's more or less like the guy wins the title, and then the next guy comes out and says, I want a shot, or I'm number one contender. So
I don't know.
Once again, that's also the difference in the like theatrical production that WWE is.
Yeah. And as
So
like someone
they
who
treat it more like a ranking system, where like this guy's next in line, go for it.
the whole New Japan is treated more as if it's real.
Okay.
Yeah.
kind of like
and-
what AEW is trying to do with their rankings and stuff, and wins and losses, quote unquote, counting.
Yeah.
And the other thing New Japan does is if there is a storyline, it's okay, this guy beat this guy here, so now he's gonna try to get his win back.
Yeah, or he can never
Like-
beat him. Now can he finally beat him? It's not I stole your girlfriend.
Like the great IWGP title storyline over the last 10 years was always Okada Tanahashi, where Okada could never beat Tanahashi at the Dome until he finally did.
Yeah.
And that's what kicked off the title reign that just shattered every record.
And then it was can he do the most defenses ever? And he
Yeah.
did. I think it was 13 total. I think.
Yeah, he broke all the records. He has the longest time as champion, longest reign.
I mean,
Youngest too, right?
yeah.
Youngest. Not the most reigns. I think the most reigns is still the most reigns overall is still Tanahashi, but Okada will probably have that record by the time he's done too.
Is there some missed opportunities you guys would like to talk about? Some people who never held that belt, that strap, that championship, the title, choose your word. Is there some people that come to mind that you wish got the nod and the push, but never really got to hold it and hoist it above everyone in front of the crowd?
Bam Bigelow.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
Crusher Bam Bam Bigelow.
All right. Well, that's the end of the show.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
before Nakamura left, he should have won the world champion again. But he was so hot as Intercontinental champion. I understand.
Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, Minoru Suzuki. That we.
I was going to say that too. That's
Top
my
of the
number
list.
5 or 4.
How does people feel about Vader being like a multi-time champion?
He was good in New Japan at the time.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay.
You know
with
what's crazy? Like Vader, I always liked Vader as a character,
Mhm.
but like that's all I know Vader as. Like, so I didn't realize until I got much
Well, his
older.
WWE run sucked.
Yeah,
he
if you only know Vader from WWE, you don't realize that before that he was one of the best in the world.
Yeah, like he was a clown on WWE. Like he was he was like a big fat.
I'm a
goof.
fat piece of shit.
Yeah. And then you go watch him like in WCW New Japan. You're like, oh, this dude legit something.
Yeah, he was like a Brock Lesnar. He's
Yeah.
a better wrestler and could do a moonsault.
And he would like legit shoot fight people and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well, not legit.
Here's me exposing myself a little bit, but Van Vader, my first exposure to him as someone who didn't start watching wrestling until like middle school, Boy Meets World,
Okay.
as Sean's dad, right?
if you go on,
what was his name? Frankie the Enforcer's dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ethan Suppley's character.
I saw
If
this
you
guy
go-
and I had no idea who he was, and I just still never did for another like 10 years. And I was like,
If-
oh, okay.
if you go on Pro Wrestling Tees, there is a Vader meets World T-shirt.
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna have to get it.
I would really have liked to seen, since I've at least been exposed to New Japan Pro Wrestling, I would have liked to have seen an Ishii run, like since I've been watching.
Just like a gold watch run would be fun, yeah.
It'd be cool if they
I'm
got
a big
let him
fan.
like instead of Evil winning for 2 months, if Ishii would have won
Yeah.
for 2 months, that would have been
Because
awesome.
right out of the pandemic, that would have been a huge Exactly. No, I agree.
Of course,
He's so
Yano.
good.
You want Yano to get it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I think back in the day, Hogan should have won it for a couple months, just because Hogan won the title. He's the best in the
I
world.
really,
Like a
though
missed
I'm disappointed that Will Ospreay is currently holding it. I wish that he would have got the nod again, like 2-3 years ago.
Really? See, before that, I think he was pictured more as a junior heavyweight back then.
Yeah.
I don't see it at all.
When he made that, I know like there's some wrestlers who I would like. Oh, I wish Prince Devitt held it, but like no, they really respect their weight class divisions. But when Will Ospreay was making that push for Okada back in the day, that they're bringing up again now, I wish they would have pulled the trigger on it back then, because it would have meant more back then than it does now, in my opinion.
So then,
I
how do you
think
feel about Kushida not holding it?
I'm okay because he was always junior heavyweight. I mean, they could have put him and eventually graduate to heavyweight, but at the time, no.
I think you could have done a serious push with Liger if they really wanted to do it. I know it was even more so back then, but Liger was so good.
Yeah, he was never world champion.
He was, because he was a junior. He was a junior champion a million times.
Yeah, 14 times or something like that.
Yeah, but they strictly had weight classes like MMA would.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, Conor McGregor was never the UFC heavyweight champion. No, he's 150 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm really bummed that Zack Sabre Jr. has not been. Once again, I know it's a junior, but like I love Zack Sabre Jr. and I really want to see him hold the title.
He did have I think Okada defended against him once.
He did.
Yeah.
And then I believe Naito did. I'm not sure. But he gets to the top. I don't really see him winning the world title there. Because until like the evil stuff. The IWGP, like in the past couple of years, always been like the elite of the elite win that,
Yeah.
I might get some hate for this one, but I wish that when the Bullet Club Civil War was unfolding, I wish that Cody got it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get some hate for that one, but I feel like just to rub it in Kenny's face, like not only I got the belt, not only do I got the club, like I got everything. You're nothing.
Could you make that same argument then for Adam Cole?
Baby, did he ever compete for the heavyweight championship?
No, he would usually wrestle for like the ROH title and stuff when he was in Japan.
He was like the American side of the Bullet Club,
right?
Yeah, I don't.
But I would have liked to see that. That would have been cool.
I don't think he was ever in a position to win the title or even a challenge for the title,
right?
Because Adam Cole's New Japan stuff was very short.
And then a lot less hate for this one. This is my number one missed opportunity. I think that Hiroki Goto might have been a pretty good champion, at least even in the transitional champion, because you can get some really solid matches out of him.
He's really good. He just needs some character or something like him. Yeah. I would send him and Yoshihashi to AEW for like a year and then come back, like almost as like a excursion, but like as not a young boy, just to give them some flavoring.
It almost now seems like him and Shingo are almost interchangeable too. Maybe something similar.
What him as champion?
Jeff Cobb, maybe one day. Inohoshu should have won it, but he unfortunately got hurt. Shibata.
Yes.
I know you don't know Shibata, Tony, but Tony or Brian will agree. He probably would have won the title had he not get hurt.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Look at that jacket.
Yeah, that's from Takahashi. So he's a junior heavyweight.
Is that balloon?
He broke his neck and then came back.
Oh, that match with Dragon Lee is one of the most cringe things I've ever watched.
Yeah, that stupid suplex. Like, why? And then he did like twice in the match. Like, stop doing it.
This guy looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's
those are guys that we wished had the belts, but let's run down my top 5 IWGP heavyweight champions. Again, I'm open to criticism for each and every one of these picks, and if I get the number 1, and you're like, why don't you have this guy on your list? Defend it. Tell me who, and
I
tell
know
me
who
why.
my number 1 is. Bullet. With a bullet.
Honorable mention: Kurt Angle. He got it in another company. He was when Lesnar left.
He was the bogus IWGP champion.
Exactly. He was the last bogus one, and I think he should get a nod for bringing it over and unifying with Nakamura.
And that match is not on New Japan World.
Really?
I looked and it's not there. I'm like, I want to watch that.
So that's a little honorable mention. But at the number 5, the great Muta, aka Kaiji Muto. Kenji Muto. I think it goes without speaking when you got a legend like this guy here. And holding the title, kind of like how Mick Foley has different characters. The fact that he was able to hold this belt as not only the great Muto but as himself too and he still wrestles today.
Yeah, he still does. I see.
He's
He
a
wrestled at Madison
champion
Square Garden.
somewhere, right?
Yeah,
he was
won
the Noah champion, right?
Yeah.
GH2 champion, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He
that's
beat
my
Shiitake.
that's my number 5. Number 4, Shinsuke Nakamura. For the same reason why we have an honorable mention for Kurt Angle,
This
for
list is
unifying.
This list's gonna get
the
hot.
in. Oh yeah.
This list's gonna get hot.
There are only 3 names left. I mean, 3 numbers.
So again, I'm excited to hear what you guys would have on your list. Number 3, Japanese John Cena, Tanahashi.
Okay.
We can't argue with putting Tanahashi in any
That's
list.
fair,
Yeah,
right?
5, except
That's
maybe should be a little higher.
Should be maybe 2 spots higher.
Yeah, should be a little higher.
All right.
Well, I feel like my number 1's going to be pretty solid, but my number 2 I'd like to discuss a little bit.
Okay.
Antonio Inoki.
Oh, okay, well, for the fact that he was the first and the founder.
Not just the first and founder, but he kind of orchestrated the heist with Lesnar to get the belt over on his show, and he won several of the tournaments predating the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
I think when you make this list, it's very hard not to go with more recent champions.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't put.
I think because as a fan, you've been seeing more of these recent champions, and they're so predominant in that
Let me tell you
company
something.
now.
2018 New Japan is awesome. Every
It
main
hurt.
event is phenomenal. And then 19, not as much. 20.
It definitely hurts me a little bit to not have some of the more recent stars on there. I love Kenny Omega, but when I think about the influences and the real world impact of this title, he's an honorable mention. But my number 1, I think we're all kind of on the same page here, and I'm not going to get too much hate, but Okada at the number 1 for the top IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
So you were saying Kenny Omega didn't have a world influence at all.
I'm saying that
I'll say
he's
it.
not top 5
Okay,
in my
I'll say
fan book. He's the reason why I watch anything other than WWE. When he and Okada had their matches, I was someone who had only watched WWE. I started watching in middle school, and through college, I picked up again with the Big 4. But then when I heard about these guys breaking Meltzer's scale, I didn't even know who Meltzer was at the time. A great door opening. He did have a huge impact, and him finally getting the title was fantastic. But his run with it was so weak.
That's it. I think
We're talking
Kenny's,
about top champions.
Yeah,
His
Kenny's
championship run a little weak.
Kenny's chase was amazing, but his reign was not.
Yes, I agree with that too. You can't count what they did before they won the title because we're saying
that's
champion.
fair. Because like I know without 2017 is that Wrestle Kingdom 11. Without the match between Omega and Okada, I think that's the first in like the trilogy. That match, I saw a bunch of people on Twitter before I woke up for school that day. Just a bunch of people on Twitter tweeting about it and tweeting GIFs about it. Had I had not seen that match, I would probably had never gotten to watch New Japan. So
okay.
So I understand,
but he lost.
Oh, yes, and then like exactly, and I was just about to get to that. He lost, and then like once he did win the reign after that, I understand excluding him from the top 5.
My hot take on that is my favorite match in that trilogy was the draw.
Which was the second one, right?
A really fantastic match.
Yeah. I think
fantastic.
where I lie with when it comes to Japan, New Japan Wrestling, and it's weird to even say, and I feel weird saying it, but I'm on this new kick where if I feel like I'm skating on thin ice because I feel like it's going to be offensive, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just trying to be honest. I think like when it comes to like how we perceive ourselves as Americans, and we see a bunch of Japanese wrestlers, we don't give them the credit they deserve. And I think the first time for me when I was like, oh, what's New Japan and what's going on is when Kenny was doing it. It sucks to say that it takes a white guy for me to be like, what's going on with that company?
Yeah.
But I'm just being honest.
Well,
I think that's what happens to a lot of American fans.
I can see that. A lot of people
over there
said, oh, I can't watch it because there's no American commentary.
Yes.
That was the big thing for years. And that's like, oh, well, now there is. Oh, well, I can't watch it because of the time. Yeah.
Did we ever get Kenny AJ?
No.
Never.
No, they were both in the Bullet Club together.
Interesting.
I think
kicked them out. That's about it.
When Kenny was AJ left and Kenny was just getting started, I think.
Yeah. Kenny was a junior, and then when AJ left, they elevated Kenny to
Kenny kicked him out. Kenny beat him up. He turned the rest of the club on him. They were in the same ring. They just never had a match.
Interesting. And I think a big thing for me in general too is, I mean, I kind of knew that Kenny was the thing. I think the Bullet Club in general definitely brought more eyes on New Japan, American eyes on New Japan.
Yes.
But then I think
and Jericho,
Jericho I think is the most recent, but I think Cody Rhodes going over to New Japan, because everyone's like, what's Cody gonna do now that he's not Stardust? And then he does that promo where he's sitting in the chair and he's like, I'm going to Japan, and everyone's like, wait a second, like. And that was a time where like that stable was making not just New Japan popular, that people start realizing what ROH was too. And everyone's like, what's going on there? Because these guys
I don't think ROH has been at that level since.
Yeah.
I think the US title tournament that was happening, was that at the Cow Palace that they were doing that in San Francisco?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes.
I think that was another
Long Beach, one or the other. Just going back to Mario's list real quick. I think Andy and I are on the same page. Tanahashi's your number one too.
Probably, yeah.
If
it's not Tanahashi, it's Okada.
They're my one too. Tanahashi saved Japanese wrestling.
Yeah,
he saved Japanese. There is no Wrestle Kingdom. There is no New Japan World. There is no Rainmaker if Hiroshi Tanahashi doesn't lift New Japan almost out of the grave, almost single-handedly.
So we're saying that he's the John Cena of
not in wrestling. I mean, as in popularity.
He's John Cena if John Cena was really, really good, and Okada is Roman Reigns if Roman Reigns is really, really good.
Well, would you say that he's more of like a mixture of Stone Cold and The Rock, where he was good enough to like defeat a rival company and bring like his?
Well, there was no rival company.
It was themselves.
Wrestling was like dead. Wrestling was dead in Japan.
Inoki tried to make it like MMA because MMA was super popular, but no one wanted that. If they wanted to watch MMA, they just watch MMA. So they brought it in and just was not good for many years, and it was down. And then until Tanahashi got the belt, and business started picking back up.
And he was the guy who was he tried. Tanahashi was in other companies, and he just wasn't getting caught on. No. Oh, that was Okada.
No,
who was the guy that went to Ring of Honor, and he was a joke.
That was Okada, and there was Okada in TNA, but that was his own excursion.
Yeah, when you're on excursion, that's what.
Wasn't he Joe's heavy as like Kato?
He was Okado, because Vince was sort of like the old Green Hornet show.
When you're done being a young boy, they usually send you on excursion.
Yeah.
So then you go do whatever, but that doesn't count when you come back. Now you're back.
That's when Jay White was in Ring of Honor, right?
Yes.
That's how the Great Muta came about. The Great Muta was Keiji Muto going out on excursion. He was the White Ninja in Florida, and then they bring him into WCW, and you had the Great Kabuki before, so we're going to put face paint on him. We're going to have him blow Misty. He's going to be the Great Muta. That's how that came about, because of excursion. Sho and Yo were in Ring of Honor. They were the Tempura Boys. Yeah, they basically will send you out to go get seasonings. Yeah, they'll basically send you out to go get seasonings somewhere else. Naito went to Mexico. That's why the Los Ingobernables thing. That was the big stable down in.
Go to Mexico. Can you imagine just the world would be in without the faction he runs right now?
Yeah, LIJ. Yeah. And the Mexican version, that's where Andrade was in that as La Sombra Rush, who's the Ring of Honor champion now. He was in it.
It's so cool, like just the this pro wrestling where there's so many. It's kind of like speaking languages. There's so many different languages when it comes to wrestling, like American style wrestling, Mexican style, Japan, Canadian, and then British style. Like it's just so cool to see everything kind of in that melting pot.
And real quick, two more names for the list for IWGP champions. Tatsumi Fujinami, who was a constant, one of the early IWGP champions, one of the first ones to really be in a big setting in the United States, because he had that belt against Flair. Well, no, it was the NWA title, but he main evented the first Super Brawl against Flair, and he was there forever. And really in the 90s, it was all about they called them the Three Musketeers.
Yes.
Chono, Muto, and Hashimoto.
That's what I had.
Yeah, Shinya Hashimoto, who never made it big in the United States. But if you look at the history, and he was probably the most successful of those three domestically in Japan. Maybe him and Muto were neck and neck. And he died very young, unfortunately, and he never really had that US presence. But yeah, Shinya Hashimoto would be way up there for me too.
I might add Naito and my one personal favorite, Satoshi.
Yeah. AJ doesn't make your list?
AJ had a good run, but I don't know if it was top 10 maybe, but AJ lost it and then won it back. But I mean, I don't know.
Interesting.
Kojima had an hour match with Kenzan. Kenny's title run was not good. Everything before the title run was awesome. Then he won the title.
Chase was amazing.
It was not so good.
Yeah.
And
it's like a dog chasing a car,
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do with it once he got it.
And a lot of that is credit to Okada, which I could see once again putting Okada in one of those 1-2 spots.
Yeah.
Like I can't
Okada's
remember.
my 2, yeah. Okada's 2 for me.
Yeah. So it's Tanahashi and Okada. That's maybe Naito in top 10. You know.
The thing with Kenny, think of it as like Daniel Bryan. That chase was great, and then when he wins the title, unfortunately, he has the injury. But before that, he's feuding with Kane. Like,
Yeah.
They did the flaming table spot that was just not good.
Yeah, and he was going to he was going to get bounced like John Cena did by Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Basically, that match they had at Cena where Lesnar just wiped the mat with him, that was supposed to be Daniel Bryan, but he got hurt.
Mario, anything in closing with your list? Is there anything else going on there?
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful title that's getting the raw end of time. The company has to evolve. They have to come up with new things. A lot of their talent, their top stars, have already held the heavyweight championship. They need something to go for. I put Okada number 1. You guys put him number 2. He has no reason to go for the heavyweight title other than it's the top title. He's done it. He's been there. He's the best. It's just replaying that song over and over on the stereo. It's time for this to come to a close so that he has something to chase once again. So IWGP Heavyweight Championship, thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your beauty in all of its forms. Not the first one, of course, because that one was super ugly. But you got your glow up.
The crown one was ugly.
Yeah,
there were a couple. Not so
you
good.
got your glow up. You got that beautiful finish, and sadly, you were turned in by Kota Bushi. Your title history, your long storied reign of all the champions who've got to wear you around their waist or over their shoulder. It's come to a close. So thank you, everyone. Pick up your dirt to throw on the grave, toss a flower, and we officially close that story. And we end with a little bit of hope, I think, where we can just take a few moments in fantasy book in a way where we can talk about who we want, whether it's this year or 5 years from now or 100 years from now, though I doubt we know any of those wrestlers at this point. Here's some people that we want to hold the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And again, that belt that we just put the rest, it's had several versions. So even though this one's ugly, it doesn't mean it's always going to be ugly.
Do you mind if I kickstart who I would want to see in the future hold the new one?
I'd love to hear.
If he doesn't wrestle again in WWE, I want to see Samoa Joe hold that title.
Okay. I hope Samoa Joe gets out so he can wrestle.
I have a guy, and I think not only is this belt was just legit made for him, I think it fits his look very well, and I think because he cannot compete for his company's world championship, I think when the door opens, Cody Rhodes will eventually be the new.
Wait, is this list who you want or who you think? Because that's two different things.
A little both. A little both.
A little bit of both. I think he will at one point in time hold that new belt.
Absolutely not.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you've heard it here last.
He definitely got the belt a little too early, but I would love to see Jay White come into his own in a couple of years.
He will. Jay White will be the champion.
Give him that chase that Kenny had, but let him actually get a good run afterwards.
Well, you said John Moxley.
I think Moxley will win it because they love Moxley, and he's almost basically undefeated in New Japan. I think he lost once.
Yeah.
I think in the G1, maybe twice.
Oh yeah, in the G1.
Yeah, I think he lost to. He didn't lose any singles matches, and that's why he's still United States champion. I think when Rusev goes over, he has a good shot. Miro.
Ooh, I like it.
As the world heavyweight.
Yes, when he's there for a while. After not right away.
I will say
after a while.
After looking at this championship list, right, and going through and looking at all the champions, when you go through it, it's a lot of the same names back and forth.
Yeah.
Like
Wrestle Kingdom main event, aside from this year, was always Tanahashi or Okada, I believe, except for maybe one other year or two.
I mean, if you got Naito, Okada, they flip back and forth. Tanahashi's in there,
but it's like Hogan, Macho Man, Warrior.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it would be nice to get some new faces in there.
I could see eventually one day, since they've beefed up Yo and Show having a feud over that title.
Show first. I think Show will be the one to win it first. Yeah.
You see them becoming heavyweights?
Yeah, and also I feel like once again with that futuristic like feel,
Yeah.
I feel
Maybe
like
with like ankle weights. I don't know if they could put on enough
I
muscle.
don't know about Show. Yes, I think Shingo
If-
has a good chance to win the title.
Shingo
Sonata.
definitely. Sonata.
Um,
If he ever does,
Sonata. Yeah, Sonata.
if he ever does decide to want to bulk up, I think Hiromu is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, I can see him winning it.
Wait, Hiromu
Takahashi.
Takahashi.
from
guy
the
in
Bullet
LIJ.
Club, but
LIJ, taking time
Not
bomb.
Yujiro.
No, not you,
No.
no.
Who's
Not
the,
Pip Juice.
Who's
Tokyo
the new bone soldier? Who's the new bone soldier?
Ishimori.
Because I thought you were talking about him, and I
No.
don't think you could put any more muscle on that guy.
No. Hiromu, the taking time bomb, junior champion.
Another like fantasy booking end of things, just a guy I'd like to see hold any title is Walter.
Oh, I would love a Walter New Japan run.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fantastic.
Him versus Ishii, him versus Suzuki,
Mm-hmm.
him tearing up Will Ospreay, him versus Okada. Like I could go on and on with matches I want to see Walter do.
Of course, we'd like to see Okada, Naito, and Tanahashi pick it up again.
You
Yeah.
see,
Okada will
You
definitely
see, real
win
quick,
at
you
some
see, you see that Mark Henry said he wants to do one more match before he retires
Really?
officially, and he
Really?
wants Walter.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
cool.
that.
I don't want to see that match, but it's cool.
He
So
said
that
he
could be
wants
good.
He wants
I
to
don't really-
put him in the Hall of Pain.
Yeah, I don't want to see Mark Henry versus anyone, but if he wants one more match, go ahead.
I think where I want to close in this little segment here is I would like to see, as much as I wish it was someone else who transitioned from the double gold to the new title, I would like to see Kota Bushi get that belt again and really see what the quote unquote wrestling god can do as champion.
And
He will win it.
And I didn't.
Yeah,
pick-
I'd like to have
I
him
didn't-
get
I
like
didn't
a
just
lengthy
pick Cody
run.
because he retweeted me. That's a.
Yeah, okay. Sure, yeah.
The Young Bucks tweeted me on my birthday a couple years back.
There you go. Hey,
That's
Cody
awesome.
throws me a little contract, and maybe he should be world
Oh,
champion.
we love Cody. Yeah, Cody.
Oh,
He's
yeah. The
best. He's
number
the
one.
best.
Number one wrestler I want to see hold that belt is Andy
The best
Header.
looking.
There you
hitter,
go.
Yeah.
Andy Header, baby.
I don't think I'm gonna get close to that, but
Yeah.
It's
You've been holding a lot of
plane
belts
away.
for lately. You've been
Plane away.
Yeah.
Good thing you've
here's
been
the
going.
closest.
Good thing you've been going to the gym, man, because you've
I
been
know.
carrying a lot of gold on your
Let me tell you
shoulders.
something. I was 190, right? I said I look fat, and today, a month later, 176.
You're
Okay.
176.
Mhm.
So we got junior heavyweight here, everybody.
Yeah, so I'm nowhere near heavyweight.
You're going for the 205 live title right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, it's on the camera. You look a lot bigger than you
Yeah,
probably are.
I'm 205 live. I'd rather have a.
I'm
Toy
rocking.
title?
I'm rocking a solid 225 on this
There you
side of
go.
the table, boys.
We're gonna hit who's heaviest in the video. We got
There we go.
15 right here.
Oh, there we go.
I'm also 176, but it's kilograms.
Yeah. Kilograms.
All right.
Yeah, 225 number, just like a little proportionately different.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look like Kota Bushi. I'll never get there, but
So we'll start with
Hey,
you, Andy. What do you got to plug today?
what do I got to plug today? Outbreak announced their first show, and then
Yes.
how about that?
Excited.
When is it?
July 24th.
July 24th. I was thinking May. July 24th, Hamburg Fieldhouse.
I will
We'll be back, baby.
We will be fully vaccinated by then too, baby, and we'll
Yeah.
be there.
For my birthday, that would be a fun way to celebrate.
That is 4 days after my birthday.
Wow. How about that? No matches announced yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
Hopefully, bringing a title to our
yeah,
table.
we'll see. It should be good. I'm excited to have that back. So July 14th, and then next weekend, 1CW in Delaware sold out.
Oh,
Me and Matt Turner are gonna be wrestling there. So tag team action there.
How did
It's in
that, how'd that
Delaware.
last show go with you guys? Heard some people got hurt. And
Yeah, it's
it was
not good.
it was crazy.
The guy who books it. It was like 15 matches. It was too
It's
long.
rough.
I don't know who got hurt. I heard some guy broke his leg, and somebody
Oh.
else got hurt or something. I didn't see it, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
there. It was a cool skate rink, so it looked cool, but unfortunately the show was not that great.
Yeah, it was,
I saw. This has nothing to do with Andy, but I saw Davey Richards is coming out of retirement.
Wow,
For,
Richards was pretty
it's-
good.
It's a GSW show, but obviously not the GSW from
Yes.
down here. It's one in like North Jersey. It's actually from right next to where I used to live in New Jersey. It's it might be the same venue where Pizza Party Wrestling runs.
Okay,
The ones
yeah.
that the ones that just did main event versus main event are
Cakeover.
about to do that.
Yeah, cake over. Get it? Because it's pizza party wrestling, then you have cake.
so I did not know that Pizza Party is on independent wrestling television.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to see the main event versus main event match. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Now you can.
oh, it's on there.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, a lot of people are like, the guy who runs it is a good dude. They say he's fun. All the people who work for him, like, you can go there and have a good time. Like,
I think a lot of those House of Glory guys go there, don't they?
Who Pizza Party?
Yeah.
I'm not sure who. I
Every pretty much.
I like pizza.
Yeah, they said pretty much everyone they said he may hang out at camp every now and then. So
jeez,
it's a good place to be.
Someone's about to make an impact at camp.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so it's something that even the people who work it say they really enjoy doing.
That's a good place to work there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Camp Leapfrog, and IWTV, if you look into their archives, yesterday afternoon they had the IWTV family reunion. You had a Camp Leapfrog trios match. Boomer Hatfield, Erica Lee, and the Boar beat Matt Mikowski, Travis Huckabee, and a very good professional wrestler. And if you want to check that out in the main event, worth going out of your way to see, Edith Surreal, formerly Still Life with Apricots and Pears, she had a great IWTV title match with the new champion Lee Moriarty.
Ooh.
Well worth your watch. Well worth your watch on IWTV.
So what was the date there for Frog Sport? Do you have that again, Brian?
I believe it's the 24th. I believe it's April 24th. I'm not 100% on that.
So we'll quick run through this real fast. Let me see. Announce people.
Yeah, they announced everybody.
Violence. Yoya. Janaya K. Nola Katana. Abby Jane. Jay Lyon. He's gonna break away from. Well,
did you see on? I think I saw it on Instagram. They had that. It was just basically like a little easily digestible 2-minute match, and it was Jay Lyon.
I was ringside, baby.
Oh yeah. Jay Lyon, Midas Black, Nola Katano. So the main event against one another.
Yeah, you ran the.
I seen it. Yeah,
fun fact
right there.
Andy's when you hear the bell ring, that's Andy.
There you go.
That's Andy running the bell. Molly McCoy was announced.
It will premiere on April 25th at 8 p.m. on IWTV.
Yes,
April 25th, the Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, Big Calix, Blackstrom, Travis Huckabee, Boomer Hatfield, Saber Dorado, Jordan Blade, Bones. Which, if you're not sure who Bones is, he was on AEW Dark during Private Parties things where they were wrestling in the backyard with a teddy bear.
I believe he's a House of Glory guy.
Yep, he is a House of Glory guy. And then the last announced name, making a big splash on the independent scene, very sought after person, one of the most hated people in independent wrestling right now. Darius Carter is announced to be at Frog Sport, which is a pretty big deal. So you got some pretty big names on there, some former campers coming in to test their might, as well as some new names, and then some people breaking away from tag teams like Jay Lyon there and trying out his
Travis Huckabee too. He's been in a pretty regular tag team with Mikowski, and they're both maybe they're going to wrestle each other. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe they might fight each other
depending on how the tournament works out. You may see it. I also want to give a quick some love here to the Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, Brotherly Love. I always say Brother Love, but it's Brotherly Love Podcast. Bob Culture Podcast, us Tornado Tag Podcast, the Bald Monkey Podcast, High Tension Wrestling, and IWTV, all sponsors of Frog Sport. So really exciting there. I believe as a sponsor, we get a special item that we may do a giveaway with, depending on if we get enough interaction with it. Cool. So it's something to look forward to. Check out IWTV's merch page right now. You can go buy your own Camp Leapfrog shirt or your Frog Sport shirt if you want to get a t-shirt before the event comes out, and you can wear it and support it. A lot of really good people are behind the scenes there doing a really good work, and it's just a really cool experience. And if you haven't seen a Frog Sport, definitely go do so.
If I was going to wear this new Tornado Tag Podcast t-shirt,
look at that, baby!
Look at that!
I would have wore my new Matt Mikowski t-shirt that I got. I got the Final Fantasy VIII shirt.
I got the slash ones. Where's his name? I do have a extra small t-shirt.
Extra small.
That is not for me.
I ordered it incorrectly.
I wear it as a glove.
Put it on your dog. Dog.
So if there's anyone who will fit into an extra small, I do have a brand new
like a child's medium or something.
Max Zero shirt.
Okay.
He unmasked at Camper's Choice Live. Maximilian. Yeah. Zero. And I think he's gonna go switch it from 0 to 10 now.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so I have his brand new T-shirt that you can get at whatamaneuver.com.
He's at least a 9.5, if not a 10. He's a handsome
he's a handsome man. That guy. He took that mask off, and it just the glow up is real. But yeah, Brian, what do you got to plug?
ProjectHumanoid.com is where you can find all my stuff. Murder My Dude. I believe our last episode was about the Boston Strangler.
Good episode.
This weekend, we will be doing Pedantic again. We're going to be talking about the Stratemeyer Syndicate. If you ever read Nancy Drew, the Hardy Boys, anything like that, we're going to kind of look at the secret behind the writing of those. So all fun stuff. It's all on project200.com. You can just check it out there.
Austin, what do you got, brother?
As per usual, Farlow's. And to go off of Farlow's, I also want to kind of advocate for people to get vaccinated so that we can start letting people inside at Farlow's.
Got my first shot.
Okay, I got one. 0 side effects.
Good for you.
Mine were very minimal. Mine were very minimal side effect wise.
Mine, I'm still. I'm gonna say this. I think a lot of people are getting, for like me example, I felt like I was sick, but I think when I got my vaccinations, my allergies kicked in the same time.
Okay, yeah.
So I think my allergies and my vaccination. The only thing I really had from it, I had a sore arm. It was sore.
Any shot.
And I was tired.
Yes.
I fought it for 2 days because I got the vaccination in, and I was like, no, I need to get all this stuff done on Friday. Then I need to get stuff done on Saturday, and then Sunday, my body was like, no, man, you're sleeping today.
I got it at 9:30 in the morning, worked the rest of the day, and then went to the gym.
Yeah.
So
the first day I got it, I was
stop
fine.
Me at all.
Yeah. Me and Brian are vaccination buddies. We went and got it together. Yeah.
Nice.
It was fun. It was a fun time. Yeah, but so we.
I don't know. When I got it to it, didn't hurt at all. Like when it poked me, I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. So I get my second shot at the end of this month.
Yeah.
So then you'll develop powers 2 to 3 weeks later.
I asked them if they can sync me and Brian's microchips up together so we can.
Can I get the flame powers in that one?
Yeah.
I feel like I think it's like different houses, like Game of Thrones, right? Powder. We're in House Moderna.
Yeah,
I'm
I saw a TikTok of a guy getting his shot, and then after he got a shot, he looked at the guy gave it, and he was like, "So this means I can have unprotected sex now, right?"
Pfizer did make dick pills.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They do make Viagra, yes.
What if they're like, all right, Moderna, you can be 98% effective, and you get XYZ powers, and Pfizer, you're 99% effective, and you get 2 extra inches on your hog.
I take the powers.
What powers are we talking about here?
Yeah, right now I have a penis, but right now I cannot fly.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you're getting Mr. Fantastic powers, you can get both in one shot here.
Ooh,
yeah, but if you get the Thing powers, then you're just like Ken doll down there.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to fly or do you want a big? You want meat?
Fuck.
They're like, we finally had the opportunity to have people flying around the world, but it came down to 3 extra inches on their wiener. They all went there. So every woman.
These are the type of things you can enjoy on the Patreon show.
Yeah. So definitely go check out that Patreon. Mario, I know you already plugged it before. Let's plug it again.
Yeah. Well, before I do, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for being on. Welcome back. I think episode 6 or 7. We're about 10 episodes in, so welcome back, podcast. You can find us on any podcasting website. You'll find, just look up Welcome Back or Welcome Back with Chris and Mario. You'll find us. We also have highlights on TikTok. So if you have TikTok, and if you don't have TikTok and you don't like TikTok for some reason, just do it. It's better than Vine. It's fine. Let's move on. No. Rose-colored glasses. Rose-colored glasses. It's better.
You send some really funny TikToks to me. Every time I get that message, first off, I had like 100 messages from him, and I didn't know how to work messaging. Yeah. And I was like, for a whole night, I was like watching his videos. Like, these are fucking hilarious. So now, like, that's our thing, is we send He sent us one where it's like this girl and her family, and she's like, me after my first mimosa. It's like, me after my 9th. And then they show her on some dude's shoulders.
Her after her 12th.
And he's stumbling, and then it cuts to her in a car, and all of her teeth are smashed out of her face. God. Because she clearly fell off the guy's shoulders and landed right on her mouth. So it was like, me after 12 mimosas, and she's missing all her teeth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so go check us out. You won't find that video on there, but go check out if you're curious about our podcast, you don't want to necessarily give it the full watch to give it a shot. We do have highlights on TikTok at Welcome Back Podcast.
Yeah, they do a great job. I'm a big fan of what they do. Definitely go show them some love. I want to thank you for not only being a guest here, but playing host too. It was nice to kind of sit back on my own show and not have to host it. You did a fantastic job. Like I said, I think you got an niche to this podcasting world, man. I think you do a good job with it. I think you and Chris are a good team, and I look forward to more content from you guys. And who cares what your fan base says? Keep doing wrestling stuff because I think you're both very talented.
Yeah, we're excited for things to come. There are growing pains. It's niche, but heck, I said this on our last podcast. It's a very masturbatory podcast where we just talk about what we want. We're trying to create the best podcast for us, and if someone else enjoys it, so be it.
So I will say
it's
this.
your show.
I will say this. They have a ranking system on their show where they use Taco Bell hot sauce intensities.
Okay, mild, hot, fire.
Verde, right?
Diablo.
Verde. Yeah, Diablo is the top.
Okay.
How has your experience been now on Tornado Tag Podcast this episode? Where do we rank in the hot sauce rankings?
Well,
no pressure.
My first time on the show, right before what was it? Right before the Rumble when I was standing Dana Brooks. Got a little Verde there for a second, but I think after today, this is a Diablo show for sure. Awesome, if you guys aren't already subscribed, hit it, get those notifications, come back, listen to more.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. That'll do it. Make sure you check out the rest of the stuff on our network. Like I said, no longer live, so you have to go over to YouTube if you want to watch it. If you are listening on an audio device or either vice versa, go support the other links below.
Mm-hmm.
We made a really cool link tree. You can click our sponsor. You can click Project Humanoid. You can go check out High Tension Wrestling Network. They do a lot of really cool stuff over there. Support them. Follow us on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Cody Rhodes is retweeting us. You can too. Go do that. And like I said, YouTube right now, we're right there. We're like 4 subscribers away from 500. So jump on your tablets, jump on your computers, make multiple accounts, subscribe, get us to that 500 mark. Make YouTube pay us is pretty much what we're trying to say. Because I don't think they're demonetizing people now for cursing. I think they're getting rid of that rule.
Well, that's ridiculous.
So we have a shot again here. We're back in the race. We just got to hit 1,000 subscribers. So definitely help us get there with that. But that'll do it for the IWEP network. Thank you to our sponsor, Abaddon Tattoo Steel. To go buy some coffee from Death Coffee or Zombie. Probably should really get their name right before I'm gonna.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, it's buy some coffee from the coffee people.
Coffee guy. It is, once again, deadhousecoffee.com. Use code Tornado and get 10% off. And I think they'll throw us a couple bucks. We're not really looking for that. But also merchandise.
Couple beans.
They'll throw us a couple beans, maybe a bag or two. But show us support. We love you guys. Thank you so much. And in closing, here's some Billy Trey.
And we'll be right back.